Hi, this is the fellow passenger. Sorry for leaving my trusty followers for so long. It's just been super busy and I remodeled my studio, but I promise there will be more content coming. But I will be away for the next week. So I'm going to take the opportunity of just making a little half-hour jam that I will share with you, because I also need to stay on top of my practice. It's not going to be a finished track, but let's see. What is it now? 32. Okay, so I got till just after 9 o'clock. What can we make? I think I will have to go somewhat usual just to be able to do something in half an hour. So I'll have to go with my trusty FM operator synth. While we're doing that, I also want to talk a bit about some of the hardware that I've acquired. I don't know if you've seen on my Instagram that I have just sorted out my studio a bit, and it works much better now. There's still a few things to do, but one of the things that I've acquired is a Casio CZ3000. That's from the range of Casio keyboards that adopt slightly less used synthesis method called phase distortion. It was not until last week when it actually clicked what phase distortion is. I think I might do a video on it, but I can't wait to actually just talk about it. So, what is phase distortion? Imagine that you have a very short sample, just a very short sample, just one single cycle of a sine wave. If you would loop that regularly, it would just create a sine tone, because you would loop it at audio rate. But now when phase distortion comes in, is that rather than, imagine that you have a player head playing the sample, going from left to right at a steady speed at audio rate. Imagine that you don't go at a steady speed. You still maintain the duration of the clock cycle, so it still starts at, from getting to finish to end is still going to take as long as playing it at a steady speed. But let's say that you start really slowly, but then you speed up at the end. The way it's going to play back that sine wave is just going to create a different shape of waveform. So that is what phase distortion is, if I understand it correctly. It's like manipulating how the playhead plays through this sort of digital waveform sample. And I think we need more of this, because I think it's certainly not explored enough. I don't know if that made sense, but I'll make a proper video on it. Let's run a couple of things in parallel. Some noise, and we have to create a bit of a snare drum. Sounds a bit mild still, but we'll get there. We'll get there. What else has been going on? What I'm going to do with my studio, I'm going to sort out, because I realized the thing that was missing was good bench space. So there's going to be more of that. I was also wondering, because for me, the hardware side of things, it is quite cumbersome to just, if you start accumulating lots of gear and stuff, it quickly gets quite cumbersome to sort of maintain it, and if you want to make changes and stuff, and sometimes it's not until you worked with a setup for a little bit that you realize what works for you and what's missing, etc. And I feel like I have learned a great deal over the years. I am not an expert, but I also wonder if it would be something that any of you would be interested in. To know more about how I set up the hardware side of things with patch base and MIDI routing, multiple sort of inputs and that sort of stuff. Because it quickly, it's one of those, some of those things that are really difficult to find a good way, because I think every studio is probably somewhat unique. And therefore, just maybe some tips and tricks would be helpful to you, how I've done it. Because even though you might not want to adopt everything I do, it might be helpful, but don't worry, if it isn't helpful, then we'll just don't do it. It's fine, everything will be okay. So what are we doing here? We are just creating some generic beat, I suppose. Let's look at the new roar thing. That's tasty, isn't it? And then we can use this parsec thing that I posted a while back, a Max for Live device that allows you to sequence parameters. Let's make that. good for IDM, isn't it? Also, some reflection on using hardware. In the recent year or two or something, I have been especially focused on getting vintage gear for under £200. And it's surprising how much stuff there is actually that you can get. Where is that? Did I only put that on the kick? Well, it's sort of interesting in a way. Maybe I keep it that way. What did I want to do? That's the fellow that I want to modulate. Yeah, and that has involved lots of interesting digital synthesizers that I have picked up. A lot of synths that not many people talk about, and I've come to a few conclusions. A lot of them sound really damn good. And a lot of them are incredibly flexible. And the reason for them perhaps not being so popular is, I suppose, a well-known fact that a lot of them are a bit of a nightmare to program. However, there are modern aids that can help you do that, like using programming software to send program changes to some of these digital synths. And I've managed to get some fantastic sounds out of them. I think the biggest drawback, well, not the biggest drawback, but one of the big drawbacks with using that sort of equipment is that when it comes to that hardware, where to me it fails now is some of them, the processing power they have is really inadequate. So if you want to do things like this, where you're using expression control to modulate them, some of them can handle that, but a lot of them, the processor just cannot handle that many program changes, which is a shame. And I would hope they would do some new processors for them, a bit like what's it called, the 202 for the MC202, that they've put a new processor in. It still uses the same sound engine, but it gives you a lot of modern capabilities. And I would love to see that for the TX81Z, because that would maybe become the best synthesizer ever. Because I think it even though they are able to generate such rich sounds, they are it's difficult to use them in an expressive way because the modulation capabilities are so limited. The best bet you have is to use velocity, for example, because too many program changes just makes the processor struggle, and then you get MIDI note dropouts and things like that. But you can also use that to your benefit if you want to. Alright, we don't have that much time left, so we should probably do something else. It just doesn't sound very crispy, but maybe it's because I've got a pair of really crappy headphones on at the moment, because my headphones of choice, they're currently left in Denmark. I will get them back in a few weeks. So apologies if this all sounds a bit shit. I shouldn't use that word, but YouTube can handle it, I think. I still know that a lot of the muddiness are usually happening in my tracks anyway, around here. So I'm just going to go on instinct. also this sort of interfaces. There was a time when skeuomorphic, I think this is called skeuomorphic, when it's pretending to look real, and I think Apple were doing a lot of that during the Steve Jobs days, but I think we're past that now. We don't need fake panels, we just need things that are efficient. Someone was asking me, oh, can you do one of those 1 hour sort of making a complete track thing? And yes, I will make more of those, and this is just a lousy attempt to remedy that somewhat. I have no idea what this melody is going to do, but we'll have to stick with it. Sorry, I'm going a bit vanilla here and exploring known territory. I hope there will be a bit more time in the future to do something. Well, I don't need to hope. I know there will be more time in the future to explore some more unknown territory. I also got some new Max for Live devices on the way. Some quite exciting ones that allow you to use multiple different modulation and then sum it up to create much more complex modulation. That may sound cryptic, but you will see in due course, I know. Also, thank you everyone for sticking to my Patreon. There will be lots of new things coming there, but I will also put this project file up there, and you will also get access to these Max for Live devices that I'm using here. minor pentatonic, baby. Minor pentatonic. I am absolutely blind. There. Ugh. And why are you not looking? Oh, yeah, minor pentatonic. That's what we want. Right, I suppose that's as much as I had time for today. I will upload this to my Patreon. As you saw, I'm using FabFilter Pro Q3 EQ, which you may not have. You should still be able to run the project if you have Ableton 12 Suite. It was to run the project, but you can go in and either, swap that EQ out for EQ8 or something in Ableton if you want to replicate. But also, I am not endorsed by FabFilter, and I have not been sent a free copy. It's a full paid-for version that I'm using. But if I could only have one third-party plugin, that would probably be the one. So I'll recommend it. Anyway, I think that's it for today. Thank you. Bye.